In Awakened Imagination, Neville Goddard reveals the truth about movement and how you can use this truth and this deep understanding about movement to manifest whatever you want. And that's what I want to share with you today. And as always, I want to start this episode with a quote directly from Neville Goddard, and then I want to show you with practical examples and also practical exercises how you can use this advice to manifest your dream life. So here's what Neville Goddard says. There are two kinds of movement. One that is according to the inner body, and another that is according to the outer body. The movement which is according to the inner body is causal, but the outer movement is under compulsion. The inner movement determines the outer, which is joined to it, bringing into the outer a movement that is similar to the actions of the inner body. Inner movement is the force by which all events are brought to pass. So in other words, there are two different ways of movement, or in a metaphorical sense, of moving something inside of you and also moving something, aka changing something in your outside physical reality. And when it comes to this change in your physical reality, in the outer body, your inner body is producing that change. So it's not about the outer world causing an emotion inside of you, but it's about you causing an emotion inside of you and then by doing that, changing the outer world. So again, here's what Neville Goddard says. The inner movement determines the outer, which is joined to it. So in other words, you with your thoughts, with your feelings, with the pictures that you create, with the imaginary act, you move something inside of you. Something inside of you is moving. Something inside of you is changing. Your beliefs are changing. Your thoughts are changing. Your feelings are changing. And as a result of that, the outer world is changing. The pictures that you see in your outer world, the money that suddenly flows to you, the loving relationship that opens up to you in the form of an incredible opportunity, the new business opportunities, the healing, the physical change. These are all results of the inner movement, and the inner movement can happen with your thoughts, with your feelings, and also with what you project in your imaginary act. Because by projecting a certain picture in your mind, by then creating the feelings that allow you to reach for the state of the wish fulfilled, that's when then the inner movement joins together with the outer movement and then creates something from nothing, something from the inner movement in your outside physical experience. And now I want to continue with another quote from Neville Goddard about these two types of movement. Outer movement is subject to the compulsion applied to it by the movement of the inner body. Whenever the actions of the inner body match the actions which the outer must take to appease desire, that desire will be realized. Construct mentally a drama which implies that your desire is realized, and make it one which involves movement of self. Immobilize your outer physical self. Act precisely as though you were going to take a nap, and start the predetermined action in imagination. A vivid representation of the action is the beginning of that action. Now let's dissect what Neville Goddard says here. Let's have a look at the first sentence that I just shared with you. Outer movement is subject to the compulsion applied to it by the movement of the inner body. That's again summarized what I just shared with you earlier, where you with your inner world, with your inner movements, the emotions and the thoughts that are moving in your body, that create movement in your body, you then influence your outer world, your outer movement with that. And now let's have a look at what he continues to say. Whenever the actions of the inner body match the actions which the outer must take to appease desire, that desire will be realized. So in other words, your emotions have to be a match to what you want to experience in your physical reality. Your thoughts have to be a match to what you want to experience in your physical reality. Your image, the imaginary act, has to be a match to what you want to experience in your physical reality, and only then can it flow to you, because only then can the desire be realized. And now let's have a look at the next sentence. Construct mentally a drama which implies that your desire is realized, and make it one which involves movement of self. And here we can interpret it in different ways. You could, for example, say that by changing the way you walk, let's say, for example, you want to manifest money, by changing the way you talk, by changing the way you sit, by changing your body language, you create outer movement that is influenced by the inner movement of your thoughts and your beliefs, aka I am rich and wealthy, I am financially abundant, and this then leads to a whole new physical experience by changing your physical reality. But we could also interpret movement of self in a way that you move yourself, the self that you identify with, the self that has become your identity for such a long period of time, and you move this self out of the old reality into a new reality. And you do that by, as Neville Goddard describes it, constructing mentally a drama. And in this case, drama doesn't mean, oh my God, I'm going to create drama in my life. That's what you don't want. Drama simply means a scene. It means just like a play, an act in a theater. You create that mental drama, or, I personally, to be honest, don't like the word drama so much in this case. But well, we always have to remember that he talked about this at a different time where there was no reality TV and not the kind of things floating around that we now also equate with drama. So I would maybe say construct mentally an image, or construct mentally a scene, which implies that your desire is realized, and that involves movement of self. So the movement, as I just described, either the internal movement that leads to outer movement and changes in your body language, or we can also interpret it in the sense of the movement of the self to a whole new self. So simply ask yourself, how would that new self look like? What would that new self feel? What would that new self think? How would you act? How would you live your life? How would you enjoy your life to the fullest? What would you do if you think about that and you really feel into that new self? That's when it can come to you. Because as Neville Goddard says, a vivid representation of the action is the beginning of that action. And that's why I always, for example, during my healing journey, visualized myself with a vivid representation of the action of jumping again, of going to the gym again, of playing basketball again, and I did it over and over and over again. And this inner movement then allowed me to, as Neville Goddard describes it, move myself from the old broken self, the old not healed self, the old wounded self, to the new healed self, and the new self that represents wholeness. And now let's continue with what Neville Goddard says about these types of movement. The inner journey must never be without direction. When you take to the inner road, it is to do what you did mentally before you started. You go for the prize you have already seen and accepted. And this is an incredibly beautiful quote. That's why I want to share it again, and I want you to listen to it carefully. The inner journey must never be without direction. When you take to the inner road, it is to do what you did mentally before you started. You go for the prize you have already seen and accepted. So in other words, you live in the state of the wish already fulfilled. With the inner movement, you create the outer movement in your physical reality, and you direct the self, as shared in the quote before, the movement of self. You direct the self with this movement, with this inner movement, with your thoughts, your feelings, your imagination, into a completely new reality, which will then lead you to a completely new experience. And once you experience the first signs, the first synchronicities, and the first small manifestations, or maybe even big manifestations flowing to you, then you know that you have mastered this truth about movement, and that you are ready to manifest your wildest dreams. And of course, I also invite you, if you want to deepen your understanding about manifesting, and if you want to dive in deep into hypnosis and practical manifestation exercises, that you go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/mastery to find out more about the 11 Days to Manifestation Mastery program. And of course, I also invite you to go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/coaching, or to simply click on the second link in the description to find out more about the different coaching sessions I offer, because I would be truly honored if you gave me the opportunity to help you and to guide you on your spiritual journey and your journey towards incredible manifestations.
And if you enjoyed watching this video, please send out some love to the YouTube universe by giving this video a big thumbs up. And I would also appreciate it if you would leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think about my video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to click on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you.